Let's get it.
Welcome to the Speak Up Sports Podcast, episode 2, with Cass, Chris, and Shad. What's good, y'all? What's good?
Yo.
What's up? What's up? We back at it.
Back at it, week 2, episode 2. I'm happy that football's back.
Man.
A great week we had.
Hey, my setup Sunday was legit. I love like
How
the
was it?
multi-view shit set up like that they have on YouTube TV. Then I had my laptop out, had the iPad out. Like I was locked in for sure.
Man, it just feels great to have football back, man. It just feels different. It just, summertime, we outside have fun, but then just that football time, that sport,
That fall weather.
Yeah,
that hit different.
That's for sure. So today we're going to go through the biggest takeaways. Then we're going to kind of recap week 1 game by game, a little quick recap, as well as the unfortunate news with Aaron Rodgers that happened on Monday night, as well as a little bit in college football. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the Team USA loss. What a big loss for Team USA in the FIBA World Championships. And then finally, we're going to end with week 2. So let's get started. What's y'all's biggest takeaway from the week?
Ooh. All right, I'll start. And mine is very, very general. And we talked about it, of course, in our last episode, but preseason kind of matters. And this week kind of showed like these offenses, of course, in the beginning of the season, defense is always going to look more polished than offense. But most of these offenses look like dog shit. Like you can tell, like quarterbacks that didn't play all preseason, Lamar, Jalen, them, you can tell that they didn't play all preseason and how they played. So that was the biggest thing I took away from this. I don't want to overreact to it, but I did see some stuff. I did see some stuff that I did not like.
What about you, Chris?
I mean, same thing. It just now a couple of games they have some bad weather, so I'm giving them a little for that. But it was just you out of sync, missed throw, just general stuff that you could tell. Like, yeah, you might have been practicing, but if for real live game reps, you could just tell, you didn't have it. Yeah. And so I mean, as season go on, I'm assuming that most of these quarterbacks that we are considering good quarterbacks are, they're gonna get it together.
Hopefully.
My biggest takeaway is on the flip side of that. Tua, Trevor Lawrence, they played it really well this week, and the young quarterbacks, but Tua for sure. Justin Herbert played well as well. The rookies kind of showed a little something. Anthony Richardson played well. CJ Stroud had his hits, but he played well. Bryce Young, I mean, we're going to get into y'all's Falcons, but the kind of like y'all said, it was kind of up and down with the QB play this week, but big win for the Lions, big win for the Miami Dolphins, of course, big win for the Cowboys and the 49ers. Some disappointing teams, but we'll kind of get into it as we go week by week. So what games do y'all kind of want to start off? What stick out to y'all?
Let's start off with the
week
first
1, game 1. Week 1, game 1. I mean, last episode, me and Shai kind of talked about that. Like, hey, it's a chance. I know, Patrick Mahomes was missing Travis Kelce. That's something we really didn't know whether he was going to play or not at the time, but he missed him. I mean, that's his boy right there. I mean, it was some drop passes. But again, week 1, game 1, Russ, might not be in sync, but I think the line gonna show us something this year.
I mean, we were all pretty high on the Lions. I didn't think that they would go in and pull that off, but also, again, like you said, it was before Kelce got out. So, they were without Kelce, without Chris Jones, and Patrick Mahomes was putting it there on a lot of throws that just weren't being converted, weren't being caught. Kadarius Toney, Scott Moore wasn't getting open. These receivers that we heard so much about all offseason. Yeah. Oh, it's fine. Patrick Mahomes has done more with less. All that, nah. We didn't see it in game 1, and especially without Travis Kelce, without his little safety blanket there. And I don't look. They came out and said, Andy Reid came out and said, Kadarius Toney's not like that. He has sure hands. Yeah, okay, that's fine, but that was bad. That was real bad. And then the defense. Well, go ahead. Let me see what you got to say.
So I kind of agree with y'all. Obviously, with the drops, that's the big story. And the Lions obviously getting the win, kind of gritting it out. Really, one of the things that I kind of noticed and I kind of felt is the Lions were really missing Jameson Williams.
Mhm.
They didn't really have somebody to kind of take the top off. They kind of had to go kind of piece by piece as they were going along and making their drives, and that's what kind of made things tough. And then the Chiefs also kind of teed off on them with the blitzing and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
obviously, we all hear the stories about how Jared Goff's bad against the blitz, but he played pretty well. Could kind of say because of the drops, he kind of outplayed Patrick Mahomes. But big win for the Lions. Kind of like you mentioned, what Andy Reid said about Kadarius Toney. I do think that Kadarius Toney will be good. I think Sky Moore. Obviously, I'm not in panic mode about the Chiefs,
Yeah.
but I mean, after this week, we might see if they lose to Jacksonville. But I mean, that could be big because their schedule's not easy, especially with they haven't had any division plays going down 0-2. So that's something to watch as well.
Yeah.
I've seen some stuff on Twitter talking about how Travis Kelce, I mean, he's back at practice, but maybe he's kind of rushing it. Maybe shouldn't come back too early, some of those Twitter doctors. But it'd be interesting to see. I'm glad to see that Chris Jones is back as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little surprised at what he accepted to come back.
Yeah.
Just a little 1 year. I know it's incentive heavy, of course. But I feel like if you want to do that, I feel like y'all, I mean, and this has been touched on a lot too, like y'all could have did this last week. Y'all could have did this before the season started and had him play game one, which he was needed for that game. But
yeah,
I guess you live and learn. They go out and get an L. But I mean, props to Detroit though. I mean, they ran the ball decently. Could have been better. They didn't use your boy Jahmyr Gibbs as much as I thought they would.
Him, man. They're gonna have to use
he
him.
made impact plays though. Every time he touched the ball,
every time he touched the ball, he was going 6 yards at least. So it's like, okay, give him some more touches. But that's a whole nother story there. But yeah, props to Detroit. I mean, Goff was most of the time getting the ball out quick. It was a lot of short stuff. The offense is slow, especially without Jameson. Like, the tempo, like everything about that game was just slow. Really, on
maybe
both
they
sides.
were trying to. I mean, they could possibly be just trying to slow the game down. Fear of Patrick Mahomes. So,
but a lot of people don't. I don't think a lot of people actually touched on that, especially not the broadcasters about missing J-Mo at all. Nobody really ever just touched on it, and that's a big. That probably will make a big difference. And I myself included, I didn't really think about it watching the game. I'm just into the game in general. But then you think about it, like, yeah, they really don't have
that was
nobody
kind of
that
my
can stretch the field.
biggest takeaway is like they had to. Every drive that they had was long drives, like 10 play, 11 play, like when they're scoring drives. So I was kind of like, it seems like they're missing that guy to kind of take it over the top. It seems like they were kind of sticking with the short and intermediate areas. So, that was something that I noticed during the game. And then when I went back and watched it, I was like, yeah, they probably could have used him a little bit. Somebody else other than, because I mean, Marvin Jones, Josh Reynolds, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, they were kind of, like I said, hitting that intermediate area. So, the pack play action. So
yeah. I mean, it's hard because I don't want to. Yeah, we're not gonna freak out over Chiefs losing, but
yeah, week two,
big week.
Yeah. they better come correct against Jacksonville. But let's move on to the next game.
We can speak about Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Jacksonville and the Colts.
So let's move on to that one. So Jacksonville pulled that one out 31-21. And honestly, like if you just look at the box score and look at the score, you wouldn't think that this game went the game went completely different from how the box score and the actual end score is reading, for sure.
Right.
I mean, of course that happened. Like it was close. I'll let you. That's your squad, Shy, and I'll let you talk about
that. That is my squad, and I did think that we were gonna win. I was feeling good about my prediction before, but I mean, ultimately they pulled it out. I thought Anthony Richardson played really well in his first game. There was some reads that he kind of missed on kind of the read option where he could have kept it a couple times. That probably would have got some big yardage. Kind of struggled a little bit in the run game, but I mean, our defense was nasty that day. The Jaguars play great defense as well. Tyson Campbell, number one corner, Georgia dog. But he made a big play in the end. But the biggest play of the game to me was ultimately in the fourth quarter. Jamal Agnew made a big punt return that when they were down 3 to get them in the plus field or on our side of the field, and they went in and scored. And then right after that, that's when Anthony Richardson threw the pick. So that was kind of the turning point of the game. But before then, I mean, the Colts were handling them. The big crazy play with the Forrest Buckner and the double fumble touchdown. So
that was crazy.
Yeah.
I was watching because I was like kind of like, I was watching the little red zone thing, and it kept showing. First off, it looked like the play stopped, so I turned away. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, everybody's running again. Then you see big D4 diving for the touchdown.
That was crazy. I was like, hyped for sure.
I mean, that was a heads up play. I mean, you always talk, hey, you don't hear that whistle?
Yeah.
Man, just standing there like, oh.
That's why you play to the whistle, though.
The thing about AR, I did like what I saw from AR. And I think he actually played the best out of the 3, out of him, Bryce, and CJ. I think 100% played the best, even though he did throw that pick, and it was a bad time to throw that pick. The worst time to throw that pick. I get that.
Yeah, but Tyson Campbell baited the fuck out of him. It was a good play by him, but ultimately, like you said, bad timing on it. But
he had some overthrows, But one thing I did notice too, watching that game, is like he's like really connected to the squad, and he really really wants this. And I saw one throw, I forgot who he threw it to, but he kind of like overthrew it a little bit, but your guy went up and caught it still. And then he came out there and he was like, my bad. Yeah. He was like killing himself a little bit for it.
He knows.
Could tell, like,
he's locked in. He's definitely locked in. He wants to get better from interviews that I've seen and stuff like that. So what you think, Chris?
I mean, I speak on this. He got the perfect coach for him. He definitely got a perfect coach for him, Shane Steichen. He gonna get that boy right. The Colts played the Eagles in the preseason, and I mean, just me watching that game in general, I can tell the concerns with him in general aren't as big as people like to make it seem. He's gonna be a good quarterback. Yeah, that exactly. A lot of people think he got all the athleticism in the world, but he just raw. Nah, he know what he doing.
He know how to play the.
He know how to play the game.
He just ain't did it long enough. Yeah,
he's just inexperienced. He's not raw. He's inexperienced, and that's a misconception. But on the flip side, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, some of the passes that they connected on him and Calvin Ridley. I mean, there was one pass they connected on over the middle where the two corners ran into each other. Like it was that close to being a pick. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence showed something.
He could put it there, man. He could.
And then he had it on the touchdown to Zay Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was nasty.
That was the only place you could put that.
That was nasty. I was like, oh man. I mean, what can you do? You can't hit on it, but
it was a hell of a catch too, though. That was a lot on Zay. Like, that was a hell of a catch.
The defense played well. Like I said, Tyson Campbell. I think Josh Allen had two sacks. A couple of them were, when Anthony Richardson's kind of scrambling, they got back. Yeah. But I mean, sacks, whatever. Yeah. But still made some plays. Ultimately, like I said, pulled it out in the end. But it's like we've been saying, it's going to be a big week for them going into Kansas City. Big win. They haven't won an Indy in a few years. So big win to start the season for them. What's the next game we got for us, Cass?
Let's talk about Texans and Ravens. So let's talk about a little more. So Ravens did pull that one out 25-9. Again, if you look at the score, it is not indicative of what we saw.
They didn't just dominate them.
They did not dominate that team at all. And actually, I will say the CJ, he didn't look bad. He was accurate. Yes, he was accurate. He had conviction with his throws. He knew where he wanted to do with it. That's what I kind of saw out of that. The Texans just don't have a lot. CJ was really focused on his outside receivers, getting them the ball. He didn't really use his tight ends as much as I thought he would, and it's tough. But the Ravens lost a lot of players in that game too, though, which
Marcus
has
Williams, Stanley, J.K. Dobbins. That's tough. That's real tough.
They came out of that game hurt, and
they was already not really, hurt coming in.
Yeah, Marlon Humphrey out.
Mm-hmm.
So J.K. Dobbins, I think, is going to be a big hit to the offense.
Mm-hmm. So now you're relying on
and the pass game, really.
Yeah. Now you're relying on Gus Edwards and who's the running back they had?
Justice
Hill. Yeah. So it's like
I think they got Melvin Gordon
more.
Too.
they do got LaMelo Gordon. He was on a practice squad, which they probably going to promote him
They're
now.
bringing him up.
Yeah. But it's like the whole, is your run game will go through Lamar, which probably, but is that the thing to do? And
I mean,
OBJ didn't really do much that game. It's like
they
didn't look polished.
I saw a stat that Lamar was 15 of 15 when not pressured, and then like 2 of 12 when pressured. So, I mean, that's some stuff that they got to clean up. One thing I will say is Zay Flowers flashed. Flowers, he looked real good. Pause. But I mean, he was shifty. He was shifty. He was making plays out there. I did think, OBJ wasn't as expected, but Rashad Bateman played well. Like I said, Zay Flowers played well. OBJ, I mean, he made a couple catches, especially towards the end of the game to kind of get them to seal the game.
Seal it,
Another person that I would say outside of CJ, Will Anderson. Will Anderson was I don't know if y'all went back and watched the game again, but Will Anderson, I mean, the first half, he almost had like 3 sacks. He was, I mean,
a lot of pressure. I know he only had one on, but
they couldn't do nothing with him.
Right.
And it sucks that Jalen Petrie got hurt. So, that was a good call. It might be a good call. That's one thing I'm feeling. I'm kind of having remorse over after this week, at the week 1 overreaction. So, especially because my defensive rookie of the year didn't even play. So,
facts. Well, yeah.
What about you, Chris? What you thought?
What did I have? Did I have Will Anderson? I think I did.
You did have Will Anderson.
But no, Texas, I mean, they're going to play people tough every time. They're not going to be no just cakewalk team. I think Orion's going to have them boys ready to go every time. So, I mean, that's good for Will Anderson. I mean, you got a coach that's going to, put you in the right position to make plays. But, man, I just, expect a little more from the Ravens. But I'm going to just chalk it up as week 1.
Yeah, they played nobody in the preseason.
You can't, right, So I'm going to just chalk that up as that. But I'm still expecting I'm still expecting the Ravens, at least offensively, to do something.
I mean, another big game for them. We've been talking about the Chiefs and Jaguars, Bengals, Ravens this week as well. So that's something that obviously we're going to get into later, but
they both need that one for them. Yeah, they both need that one,
especially for my sake. I had them on 1 seed.
Yeah, but I like what I saw of CJ Stroud. Let's talk about the other rookie quarterback, Bryce Young, the 1 overall pick. In that Falcons Panthers game. So going into the game, I wasn't as worried as I really thought. I thought the Falcons would win this game. I didn't think it would go how it kind of went, but I mean, I did like what I saw out of it overall. Mm-hmm. We mixed up so it was a slow start. It was a slow start on both sides,
Definitely
really. But it eventually got to the point where the Falcons defense started mixing up, like giving Bryce some looks he wasn't expecting, not doing the same thing twice in a row, and that kind of led to a couple of those picks by Jesse Bates. he was all over the place in this game. Yeah, defensive player of the week in the NFC. He was all over the place. 2 picks, a forced fumble, and I mean Bryce. Look, this again, it's just week 1, but he made some bad reads. And he had some overthrows as well. But those 2 picks were exactly the same pick, and that's something you should not make the same mistake twice in the same game. So that was kind of, I didn't want to see that. Then I definitely moved AR on the scale of the 3 of them for week 1 above. But I mean, Bryce, he threw for 146. He threw for a touchdown. It was a little easy out to Hayden Hurst. It was okay, but I'm more excited about my Falcons, though. I think the defense stepped up with that one. I will say this, though. Okay. So we can talk about Desmond Ridder real quick.
Nah, you see, you already about to say some bullshit.
We'll talk about that. Let's talk about Desmond Ridder. All right.
Let's hear it.
I agree. That's not what I wanted to see from him in week 1. It's not. All right. I wanted to see a little bit more control. He had a lot of control of the offense, but control of the passing game. He was a lot of dink and dunks. We had 1 throw that went over 15 yards. 1 throw, 1 attempt.
And that was the one
that Kyle Pitts at the end of the game where he made a hell of a catch too.
He sure
but
did.
It's like that's not sustainable. You cannot keep that up. Even though you do have 2 dogs back there at running back, you got a good run blocking O-line. I don't know what the pass blocking. That was pretty bad too. But it is Brian Burns and Derek. So, but yeah, it was.
Brian Burns was going nuts.
Yeah, in the beginning of that game, Brian Burns was going crazy. He was he was going nuts.
He trying to get that contract.
Yeah, facts. So I mean, the jury's still out on Desmond Ridder. We still don't know what we got. He didn't throw a pick. That's what run the ball, keep the ball. That's all you can really ask for at this point. I do want to see a little bit more from him to see if he's really the quarterback, the future, the quarterback that the team needs. But he hasn't registered a pick in any of his 5 starts in the league yet. So I'll take that. But what are y'all thoughts on
Chris?
I got mixed feelings about it because I see what you're saying, but at the same time, Jesse Bates saved y'all, in my opinion, because it was times where it felt like the Panthers were totally in control. Y'all defensive line wasn't showing up at first, and I just felt like the mistakes he made, y'all took advantage of it. That's what you're supposed to do, but I just need to see a little bit more from Desmond Ridder, like you just said. Like that's not gonna cut it to win. Might, but I don't think it's gonna cut it to win the division. We're gonna talk about the Saints later, but they defense not gonna let you do what you want to do with Robinson. That's just not gonna happen.
Let me come back.
So he gonna have to do something. He gonna have to throw that thing, man. He gonna have to throw that thing.
Let me come back on that one because we saw that 2 more times this weekend. As far as when your defense sets you up, you really ain't got it. The only thing you really should do is not lose the game. And we saw it with your quarterback, Jalen Hurts, and we saw it with Dak on Sunday night. Your defense spotting you, and your defense and Cowboys defense spotted them 16 points each. Our defense put us in scoring range. We scored 17 points off turnovers. You don't need to do a lot. Now, if this,
but you're talking about 2 quarterbacks that quote unquote, prove themselves that they can do what they need to do.
That's true, but he didn't need to go back there and throw 25 times. He didn't need to, straight up. So it's hard to even judge. It's just a jury still out. But I like what I saw. I will say that.
But I will say this: Robinson is as advertised. That boy nice.
He shifted.
That boy nice, man.
He's shifty and strong. So it's tough.
Algier is good as well. Algier is really good. He made an impact. My biggest takeaway from that game, obviously, Desmond Ridder played okay. Nothing to write home about. It is what it is. He didn't need it, like you mentioned. He just needed to manage the game, and that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. It's week 1. Obviously, when you get deeper into the season, and you got those bigger games when you're trying to compete for the division championship and stuff like that. We'll need to see a little bit more, but nothing wrong with that. But I kind of feel similar about the Panthers and Bryce that I felt about the Lions offense, where it was a little slow. And they were missing, or Thielen, I think, played, but
he was hurt too.
But he was hurt. Yeah. Bryce missed Mingo on that 98, 99
start running. Yeah.
Oh man, that would have been a nice one for the stat line. But missing Chark, I think, was a big miss for him because they really didn't have any juice. The offense was kind of slow. They don't even really have real fast running backs.
Neither of their running backs, Sanders or Chuba, they're both not game breakers.
So that was kind of my biggest takeaway. Good opening game for the Falcons. Obviously, as you mentioned, Bijan Robertson is as advertised, early rookie of the year candidate with AR. Going to add that in there, But yeah, good win for the Falcons. Big game. We keep saying
plus it's a division game, so that is
you got 1-0 in division off rip.
1-0 in division off rip.
Love that.
That's a good way to start. So, and Frank Reich kind of always has those slow starts with his teams, and then they kind of get better, especially with having a rookie quarterback. So that's to be expected. I think that they'll be a little bit better, like I said, as they get DJ Chark back. But I'm looking forward to the Falcons playing the Packers this week to kind of see the two young teams.
Even Panthers playing the Saints on Monday. This week 2 slate might even be better than week 1.
Week 1.
Legit,
especially but we can get into the Packers game and your boy Justin Fields. Yikes!
All right, so yeah, that game was pretty bad too. Honestly, the Packers controlled that team throughout. The final score was 38-20. they did whatever they want to. The defense for the Packers, they were all over Justin Fields, and of course, a lot of that's protection. A lot of that is like, what are you doing back there, Justin Fields? Where are you trying to go? You know, your footwork was off. You know, and I went back and rewatched the the condensed version of the game. I saw it a little bit while it was on, but it was just like not a lot of separation. Terrible decisions by Justin, especially on that pick over the middle. Like, where were you throwing, bro? Like, where were you throwing at?
It's that dog, Quay.
That's not what you wanted to see out of Justin Fields. And of course, everybody's at his head now. And some of it, a lot of Bears fans are saying it's the O-line's fault. They want to blame it on coaching again. I get it. At a certain point, you cannot keep blaming the coaches. You got to look at the quarterback. You got to look at your head, the head of the snake. The defense is terrible for Chicago. And I will say, like, I do want to see the Packers go against some like a better defense. Not saying that the Falcons will be in week 2, but it's just a better defense in general to see exactly what Jordan Love is, because I don't think that really showed. Like, he had his way. They did whatever they wanted. Aaron Jones ran crazy over them. AJ Dillon did whatever he wanted to do. It was a shellacking.
This nigga said slacking.
It was not a good game by the Bears overall.
I really like what I saw from Jordan Love. Like I said, I already, like I mentioned in the first episode, I think the Packers going to have a really good season. Early defensive player of the year, make a statement game, locking down DJ Moore. Like I said, Jair, thank you for backing me up there. But one thing, that's without Christian Watson. So, as much as you want to say, that the defense is terrible, that's without Christian Watson. And they went out there. Romeo Doubs played well, Jaden Reed, as well as Luke Musgrave. I mean, the Packers have a really, really good young squad. The defense picked it up towards the end of last year, and that's kind of what helped them, like, when they started off kind of bad last year and then ultimately had that tough loss at the end. The defense was a big part of it, and they kind of carried it over to this week. Like I've been saying about Justin Fields, I mean, we're gonna see. I don't want to talk bad on the man, because I do think that he does have potential. He was good at Ohio State. People, of course, are going to come back with that Ohio State quarterbacks nonsense and stuff like that. But it'll be interesting to kind of see as the season moves on, his confidence as the season moves on as well. But what you think, Chris?
Just like Cass said, I want to see this the weeks to come, but I was real low on Jordan Love. I like what I saw. I did like what I saw on Sunday. So he showed me a little something. So I'm interested to see if he can keep it going. But like you said, without Christian Watson to be able to do what he did, the Bears defense might not be top 5, but they still got a good defense. Their defense ain't no just bad defense in my opinion. Anyway.
I think on paper they have the players. They did not play together though in that game. It just looked disconnected to me. It was a lot of blown assignments. Like it was a lot of receivers just wide open over the middle on the side.
You still gotta make the throw. You still gotta make the play. And like I said, I didn't like Jordan Love coming in, but he got my attention. I should say. I'm gonna keep an eye on that boy.
And he missed Luke Musgrave on a pass, a deep pass to the corner too, that would have went for a long touchdown too. So, they had a lot of missed opportunities, and they still put up 30 plus. So, big win for them. They still own Chicago, obviously. Yeah. But what's the next game you got for us, Cass?
Let's do Bengals Browns. Now, the final score with this one was 24-3. Another game where the final score wasn't really indicative of what actually happened in the game. Now, I will say the Browns did dominate the Bengals.
Oh, I was about to say, I kind of feel it did.
No, they definitely did.
Defensively, definitely.
But offensively, the Browns, they didn't look sharp at all. I'm talking about Deshaun Watson was throwing. It wasn't like a downpour there. It was raining pretty hard, so I'll give him that. But Deshaun Watson, he did score. He scored on the ground. He was throwing a lot of passes at the ground too. A lot of them were just skipping up. It wasn't his best work, but it is something to build off of. As you rather work on something after a win than a loss. You know what I mean? So I'll take that. The Bengals, man, they didn't want to play this game. It's like, and if it felt that way pretty early in the game, it was like, okay, well, is what it is. Like you got Myles Garrett out there to dance, like literally dancing crossover for a
That's
snap.
disrespectful.
That is
But
disrespectful as shit.
man, they
So
D-line look crazy. I mean, the D-line's got a
yeah,
lot of good players, a lot of good talent. It's got Myles Garrett, obviously, the head of the snake. They brought over to Zadarius Smith, Mo Hurst. They've got a really good defense. They were attacking. Obviously, Jim Schwartz, Chris, that's your boy, Super Bowl
So you gonna have
champion.
them.
But I mean, they were out there hunting.
they were
Browns
hunting.
defense looks real good. But like the weather was, I think, was a bigger factor than. I mean, obviously people have mentioned it, but I went back and looked at it, and I mean, you could tell that they couldn't. The way they were catching the ball, they were kind of body catching
It
it.
was really bad.
Some of them took their gloves off. I mean, you could tell that the ball was slipping out. Even that pick that Deshaun Watson threw, it was tipped. It was just a kind of an ugly game. But I did think I see the potential with the Browns offense.
Yep.
I don't think that, because there were some passes that he did make that were really good. I'm not even gonna speak on the Bengals just because I mean it was just a bad game, bad weather game. I mean Joe Burrow's gonna be fine. The offensive
The
line,
offensive line,
I mean,
though.
that's still got to be better. But I mean, you're not going to be facing Myles Garrett. I mean, Myles Garrett was coming around that edge so quickly,
That's
like
true.
every single play. It was, I mean, it didn't matter if they double teamed him, left him alone. It didn't matter. But they're not going to be seeing that every week. So
Yeah.
I'm not even going to really worry about them. The Browns did make a statement. They got to make another statement on Monday night, I believe. They're on Monday night with the Steelers.
At Pittsburgh.
And yeah, so yeah. So, but what you thought, Chris?
I just feel like I don't know. Like I get the weather, but it just watching the game. It just felt like the Browns defense took it to the Bengals, and the other way around. It just felt like the Browns offense was just messing up, because I didn't feel like the Bengals defense were just doing something totally crazy for some of the miscues that they had on offense. But I did feel like if it was any other defense, maybe at that time, I think Joe Burrow and then would have got it going. But I'm talking about they leaving their corners one-on-one with, you talking about T. Higgins, you talking about Jamar Chase, like they just leaving them out there, and I'm talking about in their hip pocket.
And there was different. They had different guys out there on them too. It wasn't just
Right.
Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. They had Greg Delpit on them. They had Ronnie Harrison on them. They had who made that big play against T. Higgins? Might have been Delpit, but I mean,
to hold T. Higgins without a catch, it's impressive. I mean, Joe Burrow had 82 yards. He didn't have any picks. He only had 2 sacks, but again, he was throwing the ball away.
37 times.
Yeah, he threw it 30. Yeah, so and 14 for 30. He just throwing the ball away to avoid a sack. There should have been a lot more sacks. They were back there. They were on his ass. So, but yeah, the whole T. Higgins without, like, I mean, that defense was very impressive and to show up. But I do want to see it. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say one more thing I want to add. I mean, he didn't have an ultimately great game, but trying to put some respect on Nick Chubb's name. I was thinking about that while watching the game. Like, we don't recognize Nick Chubb as the best running back in the league. It's always been, Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, whomever. But Nick Chubb has stayed healthy. He plays. He gets you 1,000 yards year in, year out. He was running that thing there in that game as well. Nick Chubb put some respect on his name as one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the league. But
18 carries, 106 yards.
Yeah, we can kind of segue.
He coming to work.
Yeah, that's for sure. I was gonna say we can kind of segue that into the other guy in the conversation, the best running back in the league, and the team that the Browns got to play this week with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the 49ers. You want to talk about a shellacking? They couldn't do nothing. The Steelers offense, I mean, Matt Canada, they've been complaining about him and his play calling. They kind of gave the excuse that he was kind of hamstrung by a rookie quarterback in Mitch Trubisky last year, and then Ben Roethlisberger in the past. He might be on the hot seat because that offense still don't look right.
Look and they got like
here. Go ahead. I got a stat actually.
They got their heads inflated during the preseason because they were on the only teams that really
catch. They talking
what I mean? But again, those were against a lot of backups, a lot of second teamers, a lot of it was preseason. So I mean, you could tell they were feeling good coming in week 1 until they went against a real defense.
Listen to this stat. This is from Shil Kapadia on Twitter. The Steelers offense has now gone 36 straight games under OC Matt Canada without getting at least 400 yards of offense. There have been 269 instances since 2021 where an offense has gained at least 400 yards in a game and 0 from the Steelers. And when you think about the type of talent that they've had with Najee Harris, George Pickens, now they have Allen Robinson as well as Deontay Johnson, and they're still like Pat Freiermuth, like that's a problem, and that's not just on the quarterbacks. There's something wrong with that offense, but I mean, the 49ers as well, I mean, let's not take away. I mean, they took it to them from start to finish.
The Pittsburgh defense is good now. They did. Cam Hayward did get hurt early in that game too. I will say that, but they still got a good defense.
It seems like they came in to prove a point, especially after Patrick Peterson was talking his shit, talking about he about to get a pick. And then he got 8 on.
Went crazy that game. IU went crazy. C-Mac went crazy.
Yeah,
Purdy.
C-Mac, that spin move was nasty.
That
and then
he was nasty and took to the crib, the blocking downfield.
Yeah.
That team, the 49ers, man. Hey, look, and that's why, look, y'all motherfuckers had Seattle winning that division. All right, we gonna see.
It's yeah. We'll get into that next, but Chris, what you think?
Man, every time I flipped to that, because I didn't have that game up specifically, but every time I looked at the game, it was just bad. It was just bad. Like soon as 49 get the ball, I'm talking about no resistance, nothing. I wasn't expecting that from a Pittsburgh Steelers defense, because they do have a good defense. But I didn't even know about the whole offensive coordinator. That is kind of crazy. Like that. Yeah. With the players that they got, I'm talking about they couldn't run the ball, they couldn't pass the ball, just nothing. It was really shocking. I mean, like I understand it's week 1, but I mean, it was bad.
It was a lot of talking in preseason about this team now. They come out there in week 1 and lay a stinker like that. Not a good look. And then you got the Browns.
Big standalone Monday, or not standalone with double Monday night header, but big game, big division game. They got to show something. I mean, they got to show something, because that was not. And then, like you said, with Hayward getting hurt, we also didn't mention Deontay Johnson is out for 4 weeks or so. So I mean, big losses for them. Big loss in week 1, not a big loss, but an ugly loss in week 1. Great win for the 49ers. They look dominant like we kind of expected. But speaking of the 49ers, we can kind of go to their division rivals and the Seahawks and the Rams.
Let's talk about it.
I saw that they calling Puka Doncic.
Puka Nacua.
Yeah. So I've actually been seeing stuff about. They've been kind of raving about him all summer, and I didn't really believe in the hype until he was good. I mean, they were good out there. The Rams, everybody kind of wrote them off as dead, but Matt Stafford, elite quarterback, came out there balling.
Dialed in. He was locked in.
Tutu Atwell. Yeah, they were killing him over the middle. I mean, they got something on Bobby Wagner from last year. They know he probably can't move the same way. I mean,
he can't. You could tell, bro.
Killing him over the middle.
Like it was tough seeing Bobby like that, honestly, y'all.
But it was interesting. I feel like that's another one of them games where score not really indicative, because the game was close up until like maybe the end of the third quarter. The game was like neck and neck at that point. And
it was when the 2 tackles for the Seahawks, that's when they both got hurt. That's kind of when things went a little downhill for the Seahawks. And I mean, Matt Stafford was dealing. I mean,
he was tossing that thing out there. But so it was 17-13 going to the fourth.
Him still dealing like that. That boy, something else, man.
I mean, they can be a problem, because I mean, it's only a matter of time. I mean, Cooper Kupp might be out for some time. Let's be realistic.
It's at least 4 games.
Yeah. Big thing to also kind of pay attention to is with the running back rotation with Cam Akers and Kyron Williams, because the Rams liked Kyron Williams last year, and we're kind of raving about him from training camp. And I saw something on Twitter that said that he might have been the starter anyway coming into the season last year. So that's something to watch. He played pretty well. I think he had 2 touchdowns. man, Puka Doncic, Tutu Atwell, they played extremely well for their kind of both of their. I mean, obviously Puka's first game, and Tutu. I mean, people kind of saying we're questioning why they picked him so early, and then kind of not. He hasn't really gotten any PT. Van Jefferson played well as well. He dropped a big pass from Matt Stafford.
Big man, wide open, wide.
They
say hit his head on the goalpost on that one.
Man, listen,
damn, bro, that shit was so ugly.
But I mean,
but like, okay, so let's talk about the Seahawks side of things though, because that's not what you wanted to see in week 1, especially after paying Geno the check that you paid him to go out here and go throw for 112 yards.
But you didn't expect his tackles to be gone either. That was kind of a big reason for their season success last year is they hit on the 2 tackles in the draft. So, like I said, that's kind of when their offense went downhill. So, I mean, don't want to overreact, but like you said, that's kind of ugly with the talent that they have. And I mean, hey, let's give credit to the Rams. Like I said, everybody kind of wrote them off. Maybe their defenses, Kobe Durant's a good player. Darian Kendrick, he made some plays.
Got Donald.
Yeah, I mean, can't write him off.
Yeah, you can't write Aaron Donald out. But again, we'll see what the Rams about. Well, naturally, they probably gonna get whooped next week. But we're gonna have to see
this week. Yeah, so
yeah,
I mean, we'll see. We'll see with that. But that was a big win for them. Kind of probably one of the more surprising wins of the week. But maybe we shouldn't be surprised. Matt Stafford, Sean McVay, he's been to 2 Super Bowls. Why do we disrespect him like that?
That's fair. That's fair. So let's talk about
what Geno said. Oh shit!
Yeah, hey, when he saw Aaron Donald come out,
oh shit!
Everybody understands exactly why he said that shit.
That he came there quick.
Yeah. So of course, another team in that division, the Cardinals. We don't have to spend too much time on this, but Washington beat them 20-16. Okay, moving on. So
pretty much.
let's talk about
there's another game we could do that for too in the Washington division with the Cowboys and Giants.
No, let's talk about that. No, let's talk about that.
Hang on. We'll get to it.
No.
We're gonna talk about that one. So let's talk about the Titans and the Saints, because this game is one where it's a close game. Saints end up pulling it out by 1, but my thoughts are mainly about the Titans, right? And where they stand in your division now. So watching this game, of course, we know Ryan Tannehill threw 3 terrible picks.
Terrible picks.
But the fact that he did throw those picks, Derek Carr did throw 1, but the fact that he did throw those 3 and they only lost by 1 point is saying something, I guess. But the Titans look like they're gonna have a long year, man. In my opinion, D-Hop, yeah, they keyed in on D-Hop. Ryan Tannehill missed him on a couple of throws, and we see D-Hop is hurt now, so we'll see.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll probably be fine. But like the Titans, I had them up there. I had them second in that division, and I know it's just week 1, but that team does not look good, man, at all. Derrick Henry's still Derrick Henry, and you could tell like there's a lot of moments during that game where they didn't want to tackle him. Yeah. I saw one time he bounced it out on Tyrann Mathieu side. Tyrann Mathieu tried to like fake like he got blocked. He didn't want that noise. Like, so I mean, I won't want to either. Yeah, facts. That's a big motherfucker there. But yeah, I don't like what I saw from the Titans. Saints defense looks good for sure.
Yeah,
don't like what I seen from the offense. They made plays. Don't get me wrong, but they didn't capitalize how they should have.
Look.
They didn't capitalize. They made a lot of plays. They made a lot of downfield plays too. Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed, they all had good games. But
Rashid Shaheed flashed big time.
Yeah.
Flashed big time. I think Rashid Shaheed, they might got a nice receiving core. Olave snapped this week, but I actually thought the Tennessee Titans defense played well. I mean, they stood up. I mean, that's a solid unit. Jeffrey Simmons, Kevin Byard, they made plays. They kind of got shafted on the fumble in the red zone, which should have been a fumble. But I think y'all I felt really validated in the Saints being good, especially once they get. But I mean, that's what good teams do. They get the ball, they run the clock out, they keep the ball. Jamal Williams they ended up making plays when they needed to. Michael Thomas looked good. He Rashid Shaheed, like I said, he flashed big time. I think that he continues to look like a really good player for them. I'm not saying that he's gonna go for 1,000 yards or nothing like that, but definitely a solid player for him. It seems like they were really looking to feed him as well, because I mean he did some jet sweeps as well as a big catch downfield as well. So I was really impressed by the Saints. Well, I won't say really impressed, but I was impressed by the Saints. I thought that they looked good. Their offense looks pretty good, especially once they get Alvin Kamara back. But what you thought, Chris?
And damn, Titans ain't got no offense, man. That shit look
It's just weird, bro.
Yeah,
bad.
That's what I'm saying.
Tannehill.
That
They're
shit
gonna have a
look
long season with him back there.
terrible.
Like hell.
They got, like you said, Derrick Henry is gonna be Derrick Henry. But hey, man, if you ain't got nobody on the outside, they're just gonna stack the box on you. Just dare you to do it, dare you to try to beat them downfield, and that's what the Saints pretty much did. They're like, okay, you gonna run Derrick Henry there? We're gonna come up. We're gonna try to make the tackle or whatnot. But we're not afraid of whatever y'all got going on. I mean, they just put
They
Marshawn Leonard on D
doubled,
Hop and said, try it.
yeah, and they doubled him a lot. They threw one of his picks while Ryan Tannehill was trying to fit. Which okay, you want to give your receiver a chance, but not like that. It was one where they bracketed him, Marshawn Lattimore and Marcus May, where
Mm-hmm.
had no chance really to get like on the throw. If you're gonna throw that, you gotta throw it up and over. Like you threw it short. Marshawn was able to come and pick it. Ryan Tannehill threw some. He had a terrible game. Terrible
Mhm.
game. And that's
That
not what you
makes you
want.
want. That makes you think how long you think he got before they go ahead and pull him.
Is
Well,
exactly.
I don't look. He did have a terrible game, but he did also miss two long passes. One to Spears, and then the other to their tight end Chigo Conku. I don't want to butcher his name, but Chigo Conku, I think it is for the Titans. He missed them. He overthrew them both. But yeah, bad game. D Hop looked like he was a little frustrated, and it still came to my head like, why did he even sign there? I know he said that he reached out to some other teams and maybe they weren't interested, but the
Yeah.
Titans I just never thought that he should have signed there. But I mean, good game, like I said, ultimately for the Saints. I do think the Titans, their defense was really, really, really good. I think their offense obviously will be better. So we'll kind of see as the season goes along. But I mean, it will be interesting to watch. I mean, a couple more bad weeks, and we're gonna start hearing the Malik Willis, Will Levis talk. So
Yeah, another receiver that was kind of disgruntled on Sunday was Justin Jefferson. Even though he had a great game, he went for 150. But of course, the shot of him just sitting on the sidelines where everybody else going back to the locker room after that loss, after Kirk threw and look, the pick that happened wasn't exactly Kirk's fault. like it was like his receiver had the ball. He had it. Was it was it Jordan or no? It wasn't Jordan. It was somebody else. But he had it and just got that
yeah,
shit taken away from him. Like they were set up to score on that drive.
red
So
zone pick. So
yeah,
you know,
it was a tough pit, tough way to go out. I mean, but Kirk was he was throwing that thing at Justin Jefferson. Like
yeah,
a lot of it
and
came,
Jordan Addison too.
yeah, yeah. A lot of it came early, but they were. I mean, the Vikings. I mean, we all thought that they would regress. And this is last season. This is a game they would have won.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
those
That's
close
how they end up
games.
with. Yeah, exactly. That's how they end up with 13 wins. So
They got to
I,
get better on the in the defensive backfield. I
yeah,
mean, it's not like they obviously didn't get killed by Baker Mayfield or the Bucks. You know, the Bucks played well. Obviously, Baker he played all right. Had the big touchdown to Mike Evans, but you know they got to find some DBs that can play for them as they go along into the season. Or I mean, it's going to look a lot like that. It's because, like I said, they already lost some ground with the Lions having a big win and the Packers having a big win as well,
Yep.
especially in division with the Packers. But so I mean, it's gonna be something to see because as we spoke about with Ryan Tannehill, there's going to start to be whispers about Kirk Cousins. I mean, this is a big year for them, the Vikings just in general. Kirk Cousins, obviously Justin Jefferson and his contract situation. The Vikings have had a history of kind of having those disgruntled receivers with Randy Moss leaving and going to the Raiders. Obviously, that was decades ago, but that Diggs as well. I was about to say Stephon Gilmore, Stephon Diggs as well. But you know, so that is something to watch and something to keep an eye on. What you thought, Chris?
I mean, it's what I expected. I mean, the Vikings don't have a good defense. They got terrible O line play. I mean, but I mean, Kirk Cousins he gonna put some stats on the board.
He gonna throw it. One thing he gonna do, he gonna throw that.
He gonna throw that. He gonna throw that. Hey, guess what? Guess who he throwing to? Justin Jefferson. Everything. Yeah. Hey, Jordan Addison. He do look good. He look legit. I mean, they just don't have nothing else for real. Like their defense is just poor.
Madsen, then he didn't do too.
He didn't pop off. Yeah. Yeah, that was. I mean, Baker looked all right over there on the other side of the game. I mean, on the other side of the field, though. Baker. Now, again, terrible.
Apparently, he knew the signals. Supposedly,
yeah, I know, right? I saw that shit today where he was like, "Oh, I knew all the signons," and like,
I'm not worried about that. Obviously, he's a veteran quarterback, so I mean, there's some tells that he could probably pick up on. But Trey Palmer, he flashed again. I said something about him in the last episode. And they got a good receiving core. Rashad White, he played all right. He left some yards out there that he probably could have had in a bigger game.
Mike Evans did his thing, of course.
Yeah, so
we'll see. We'll see with them.
Frisky
defense look good.
Buccaneers.
They got Shaq Barrett back, so defense looking pretty good. Like they should. Like they
don't try on.
Antoine Winfield Jr. was all over the place in that game.
Yeah, he was.
He played very well. But yeah, let's move forward. Let's talk about a little bit about the Raiders Broncos because that's another. Let's start. All right. So you start off the game with an onside kick that you did not convert, and automatically you put your offense in a bad position. I mean, your defense in a bad position. Then you go forward. You score 16 points. Russell Wilson was not bad in this game, in my opinion, but they could not score at the end when they really needed it.
Explosion in their offense as well.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, on both sides, it was Jimmy Garoppolo winning again. You know, for all the hate that he gets, he just keeps winning. Keeps winning. Kobe Myers, he just keeps being solid as he came over for the Patriots this year. I think he scored this week and he made some big plays. Obviously, the hit on him was pretty scary. I don't know if y'all saw that when he got laid out, but
I mean, he got back up and then scored game-winning touchdown.
So. I thought it was a solid hit, but
hey,
but they were doing that. They were doing that all game though. That's the thing. Like for Sean Payton, the view it was a lot of undisciplined shit that they did. First off, which Jimmy did sell
a lot of like last year.
Yeah, and it was a lot of it came from Justin Simmons, who was out there just head hunting for whatever reason.
Like that's a lot of like last year. I mean, Sean Payton was talking. He talking a lot of junk about how shit was going to change with him there. I mean, that's not a good look. And I know they if they have a bad season, Russ is going to be a scapegoat. But you know, it's Sean Payton's supposed to be coming in.
Yeah,
supposed to be the Super Bowl winning guy. You know, I know there was a little bit of comparison this offseason with Mike McCarthy, and people were like, "How could you say that?" But I mean, ultimately, that's something we're gonna have to see. Like he's not New Orleans Sean no more. You know, it's what have you done for me lately? So all the stuff that he's been talking. One thing, I mean, in wake of the Aaron Rodgers injury is the Jets Broncos game that was coming up in a few weeks. That's probably not gonna be as big now, but he did a lot of talking, and I didn't like what I said. That's a disappointing start to the season. It's not the end of the world, but a disappointing start to the season for sure.
I feel like it's one of them things where you don't realize, like, you know, being away from the game, actually stuff changes, and it's not the same as when you were doing it. And so I think he's trying to bring some of the same element he had in New Orleans. And I mean,
his kicker from New Orleans missing kicks.
Yeah, that was terrible too. And especially to lose by a point and you miss 2 field goals. Oh yeah. But let's move on to the game of the week. Dolphins Chargers. Man, what a shootout. What a shootout. Yo, and like everything about this game was just high. Like it was just wired, man. Like Tua was into it. Tyreek was into it. Great atmosphere. Yeah. Yes, you can tell. Like, Justin was into it. Eckler went off. Like it was just a lot of individual, like great play. But that boy Tyreek Hill.
They've been saying the most dangerous player in the league, and I mean he's proven it.
You can't do nothing with him.
Saying he might go for 2,000, and I mean he might. I mean
good start.
They was playing a lot of single high safety.
JC Jackson was getting cooked.
Man.
cooked.
Tyreek different, man. It's not even just his go ball, man. When they hit that fade in the end zone and he put it right on, man, I was like, damn.
That was a dot. Like,
I was like, damn.
You throw a fade to Tyreek Hill. That's how you really feeling yourself.
I said I think I had the Dolphins missing the playoffs, and that's not looking too good right now.
I had the Dolphins missing the Pittsburgh.
I had them winning the division.
Okay.
And the Jets.
Yeah, I had the Jets,
so,
and I might obviously that's probably gonna have to get switched for me if I get the grace.
Yeah, we can make some bylaws because we
hey. But man, JC Jackson, as you mentioned, I mean, he literally probably had the 3 worst plays in my opinion. The first play being, which was probably arguably the biggest play of the game, when at the end of the second or the end of the first half, and he pushed the defender, and there was a big defensive pass interference, and they got a field goal to take the lead with 2 seconds left before the half started. And then I thought, which was ended up being the biggest turning point in the game for me, when he got the interception, he brought the interception out the end zone
for like 4
and
or 5
made
yards.
it to like the 4-yard line.
Yeah.
They ended up having a quick 3-and-out. Justin Herbert got sacked on the 1-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
They kicked it out. They punted it out of the end zone. They caught it. Very next play, he gets cooked by Tyreek for the touchdown. It's just back-to-back terrible plays, like 2 game-changing plays in my opinion. That was kind of disappointing. He's kind of had a disappointing start to his career with the Chargers over the past 2 seasons so far, but I do think that he'll get right. You know, people say, you know, the Chargers are going to do what the Chargers do, obviously losing in the end, but they're going to have to fix some things. But Tua, he's talking different, he's walking different, and that man was balling, early MVP candidate. But what you think, Chris? Aside from the pass.
Hey, I'm gonna love Justin Herbert. I mean, he did his thing out there. You got Tyreek on the other side. Hey, man, he different. I mean, but I'm gonna give some love to Justin Herbert. He did his thing over there. I mean, he was making some plays out there himself. So it was a great game.
Definitely the game of the week.
I will say one thing about Justin Herbert, and a lot like this isn't talked about a lot, but I thought there'll be more of that vertical passing game, like kind of like we talked about last week.
You still don't see it,
and we didn't see it in this one. Which this is a game where you had the opportunity to. I'll give credit to Miami's defense, of course, but a lot of stuff he checked down when he didn't have to.
And that maybe that's another team without as the Lions and the Panthers without that true deep threat. Like you got Mike Williams is a deep threat in terms of he can go up and get it. But somebody's
not taking the top off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean that's definitely gonna be something to watch. I really wanted to see them get DJ Moore, if anybody, honestly.
They need some speed. They need some speed for sure.
ASAP.
But Chris, let's talk about your Eagles, man. Because y'all squeaked it out.
Look, man, this is what I've been talking about. No preseason. They look terrible. I mean, now I did say last week coming in that I thought it was going to be a close game. I give the Patriots their props. I said, you know, Bill Belichick is a great defensive mind coach, so I already knew it wasn't going to be easy. But to, you know, get spotted 16 points and then allow them to score 20-9 to basically end the game. But when, you know, we still won the game, it's just like, I seen plenty of missed throws. I seen from Jalen Hurts. And then my concern in general on the defense is still a huge concern. Now we done lost our middle linebacker for at least 4 games. Done lost our safety. I mean, well, it's a short week, so that might have been different if we actually played on Sunday. Same thing with our starting quarterback, Bradbury. He might have played if we had a game on Sunday, but since it's a Thursday game, short turnaround, they're not playing. It's going to be interesting to see how we hold up this tomorrow or Thursday. So it's going to be interesting to see. D-line, hey, Jalen Carter. He was throwing boys out there. He was tossing them aside. Like it was bad. He was just tossing them aside. But give credit to Matt Jones. He was getting the ball out really, really quick. And that's why we only got 2 sacks, and that was towards the end. And that was mostly like him trying to step up in the pocket and move out the way, and he ended up getting sacked. So it wasn't like we were just coming off the edge making plays. He was getting the ball out quick. I'm just looking to see as the weeks go by, our offense get in a rhythm. They were very out of sync.
That's what it was.
We only had like 2 drives where it was like, okay, like he was going to Devontae the whole drive, getting down there. Matter of fact, our first drive was probably our best drive, even though we only got 3 points out of it. But I'm just looking for them to get some continuity going. I mean, even the coach said himself, maybe he had to reevaluate, because he actually said that in a press conference. Maybe he need to reevaluate how you think about preseason, allowing the starters to at least play some. I mean, they didn't play none.
Yeah.
They didn't play none, and it really did look like it. Like it looked like they never played with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't like it.
The run game wasn't there how it should have been for your squad.
I did. It was like I get it. You know, like I said, Bill Belichick, good. If anybody's gonna make us work, it's gonna be him. I already knew that, but it was just like, it was a point in time in the second quarter where we had like 4 drives, 3 and outs. Can't happen. Can't do it.
You bring DeAndre Swift in, he gets 2 touches total. It's not a good look.
He gonna get some touches. He gonna get some touches this week because Kenny Gainwell out. So.
That's facts.
I think Mac Jones played really well. The Pats offense looked a lot more creative comparatively to last year. I think Demario Douglas, for sure, the rookie, he looked really good. You know, Kendrick Bourne played really well as well. He ate on Bradbury on one play for the touchdown. But, you know, I thought the Patriots looked better. They look better. They're always going to be a tough team to play against. So I don't want to put too much stock in it. It was also kind of a rainy game too.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's going to be some things to clean up. The defense, kind of like you mentioned, the D-line was as advertised for the most part, but the linebacker, especially with Nakobe going down, I mean, that's going to be a big loss. You know, we'll kind of see how they'll feel that. I mean, they've kind of been having problems with the linebackers over the past couple of years, but you know, they've had guys step in and play well, so we'll kind of see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes on Thursday. I mean, missing Bradbury is going to be big. Obviously, Reed,
especially with Jordan Addison stepping up, that's going to be huge.
So, and I said, Jefferson said it's personal.
He said he got locked up, man. You can't do that, man. He got locked up last year, man.
We're gonna see. I'm excited about this Thursday night game for sure. All right, let's talk about this quickly because it is going a little long here on the let's talk about these 2 primetime games. So Cowboys, Giants. I think I spent too much time on this. They got their ass
got ugly. Got ugly. I mean, there's not too much to say about it. Yeah,
it's crazy how quick the momentum turned. The Giants driving on the field, first drive, driving down good. They had a penalty that drove them back. Then like a fumble, like, and then he fumbled a snap.
Yeah.
Had to hop on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Block field goal
for a touchdown. You come back, that shit was just ugly. It got ugly, like boom, 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 and that was it. And then they couldn't find no rhythm. Saquon, they couldn't run the ball, and then they abandoned that quickly. Daniel Jones was out there looking lost, and like, I mean, the Cowboys defense, I gotta give them credit. They were getting after that.
They said they're the best defense in the league, and they tried to show it.
They were getting after it, man. And you know,
all 3 phases.
It caused Dak not to do much, not to have to do much, which is, I mean, that's the best way to win with that team. But
exactly,
yeah, Dak had some bad throws, but we don't have to talk about that.
I mean, not too much to take away. Obviously, he just had to manage the game. Yeah. Not too much to take away from either side, really, because it just got so ugly and out of hand quickly.
And it was raining too with that one, and it was just like it was raining hard.
Rain game this week. I mean, like you said, it's not really too much to take away. I mean, the Giants just don't have nobody. I mean, they look good the first drive, and then after that, it was just like, okay, you abandoned the run. Okay, let me drop back. I mean, he really, receivers not getting no separation. He ain't getting no blocking. It just bad matchup.
He's trying to target Darren Waller. Yeah, and that's how he got his pick. Run out of bounds, trying to throw to Darren Waller, and
get one. He's just trying to be Superman.
He's trying to do too much. Yeah. But speaking of doing too much,
I was just about to say, speaking of want to be Superman.
My dog Josh Allen.
Oh,
I mean, God. I don't even want to. Just a bad game. Just a bad game. Just a bad game. He knows it. Sold the game away. You know, give credit to the Jets defense. Jordan Whitehead with 3 picks. I mean, they were harassing him. He was definitely out there seeing ghosts, I think, Just kind of jittery, like the jitterbug, like just feeling like he had to do everything.
But you just launching it out there like punts. I'm talking about the Jordan Whitehead
Yeah.
catching that shit with the shoulder like he's running a route. That shit
I
like,
don't.
like what?
I mean, it's just
The
at some
first one,
point you gotta look at it like, man, the Jets offense can't do nothing. I just can't lose the game. We get us in field goal range every time.
mm,
I mean, I understand you supposed to be the best want to be one of the best quarterback in the NFL, but at some point it's like, come on now, like who are you trying to prove this to? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, get out of there with the win.
Not only
We
the
already know the
throws,
Jets do have a good defense, so
yeah,
what are you gaining out of it? What are you trying to do?
the running too. I'm talking about he out there still, and I talked about this last week. If Josh Allen is out there doing too much, I'm not high on no win this division, especially
You
now
nowhere near
with
the
what we seen
first
out of
down. What are you
Miami.
trying to jump over somebody for?
You
Like,
trying to?
I honestly took that as him just not trying to get hit in his knees. So, I mean, but everybody else kind of took it away as like him just being reckless.
slide.
I mean, that's probably what it is. But you know,
he made a lot of bad decisions this game. Like way too many to be an elite quarterback going against you guys. Zach Wilson on the other side.
Zach Wilson played all right. He played all right.
Not
He
going
had
for
that
it.
bad pick,
He
but
played
I
all.
mean,
He played all.
he had a
At the
terrible
beginning, he
pick.
didn't.
he made some good plays. Big third down, big 3rd and 10. He converted a couple third downs, and then obviously the catch of the year with to Garrett Wilson. Boy, nasty.
Garrett Wilson is so nice.
Nasty.
He's so nice.
And,
I think the
man,
underrated
Trey
part of
White
that
too.
catch, it was on Trey White. I don't think people talking about that now. That's an elite cornerback.
Hey, and Trey White he's been a part of a lot of those because he was a part of the D-Hop Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens like that sometimes when you playing good defense. Sometimes
when you going against a receiver like that.
They make crazy plays, and
Garrett Wilson is, and that's what kills me.
Hey, at least he
That's what
travels.
kills me about the Aaron Rodgers injury, which we'll talk about too. But that, like, I expected a huge year out of Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
And he put up 1,300 yards last season with Zach, Mike
Everybody.
White, and
Me,
whoever the hell else. So I mean, he gonna put up his numbers, but I felt like he was about to do crazy shit
Man,
with Aaron Rodgers this season.
I just feel like it's one of the things where you ain't even got to be a Jets fan to just feel that pain. Like 4 plays in,
man.
Yeah.
And then your season's done. Like I'm talking about the hype with them was real because I mean their defense is real. Their defense is good. They felt like they were just a quarterback away. I mean, we see Hall come back, still running the ball like he was before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to have it all fall apart in 4 plays.
Just looking at the timeline of it. Of course, you finish the season. You're not going to get rid of Zach. You definitely know you don't want him as your starting quarterback. Then how long it took to get Aaron Rodgers on the team, and then you got Hard Knocks coming, and then Aaron Rodgers bringing over his boys, Randall Cobb and Alan Lazar, and then you got Hard Knocks in it and building all this hype. They all coming out. Everybody's hype around the world now.
Sexy Red.
So you go out there in 4 plays.
It's tough.
Pop your shit.
It's very sad. And I mean, ultimately, like, it could be a career ending, honestly. Like, people, I know that he put his Instagram post out today and said that, and kind of alluded that he'll probably be coming back. But the thing about it is that, this is just a long shot, obviously, because of what we've seen. If Zach Wilson plays well, you can't go back to Aaron Rodgers. That's your quarterback of the future. Like, at the end of the day, if Zach Wilson ends up, like, if by the grace of God, he did learn a little bit from Aaron Rodgers, or just from Aaron Rodgers having him in the room, and then whomever they get, because I'm sure they're gonna go get a veteran. There's no way you go back to Aaron Rodgers. So that's one thing. Like, not obviously everybody's kind of writing Zach Wilson off, rightfully so, based on what we've seen. But that's something that is not talked about enough. Is like, if he plays well, if he plays average, I mean, if he shows like how Daniel Jones was last year, he shows improvement. How do you go back to Aaron Rodgers at that point?
Yeah.
Especially if they do have a good season, he does lead them to the playoffs. And Aaron's not going he's not about to go to another team.
Right.
Nah, yeah, you're right about that.
So-
But I have no faith in Zach Wilson ever
Yeah.
pulling this shit together. That's just
Segue to upset alert.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I like that.
Just
I like that.
Okay.
Upset alert.
Upset alert. I do like that. I do look. I
Hey,
believe in
I
Zach
think they go
Wilson.
with it.
I believe in Zach Wilson. They need to use Mecole Hardman a little bit more. He didn't get any PT on offense, so
He just didn't play.
Okay.
Look, he was hurt a little bit during the preseason, but he's fine now. But
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I
he
heard.
didn't.
No, he didn't.
I really think he didn't play because they were trying to limit how much Zach Wilson passed. But
Okay.
that's
Hey,
because
yeah.
That's gonna make
that's the
sense.
thing about Zach Wilson. Like he just don't throw them out of games. The defense is good enough to where dude just control the run game, run some play action, get the ball out of your hands quick.
Mhm.
Don't throw them out of games, and that's what he had a bad pick. It didn't. Luckily, Josh Allen had four
of them.
turnovers
Jesus.
total. Yeah,
God,
but
that fumble was so bad.
yeah, that fumble that he picked
And
that
it
shit
was
up.
predictable too. You just knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah, so I mean,
And that was right. That was right after the Jet score, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was right after it. Next play
Man.
or next drive.
yeah, Josh Allen. That's not good. That's not good.
Yeah.
And I think the Bills will be better. Don't get me wrong. It's just 1 week.
Yeah,
But that was not a good look to come out there after Aaron Rodgers, which okay, the Jets did have some juice and shit, and the way they lost too
after
on that
the
punt
Garrett
return.
Wilson
Yeah.
the Garrett Wilson touchdown, they definitely got the energy back. And then
Yeah,
I mean the Hard Knock star.
exactly.
That was a great. That was
For
a
it to end
great
like
way to
that,
end
that
it.
was awesome, man.
Yeah,
that was awesome to
that was
see.
a
But
great
like,
thing to see. So
especially after watching, yeah, exactly like you said.
I love. That's why I love Hard Knocks, because you see
Mhm.
stuff like that. You see,
We would have never
especially
known
like
about
that
this shit.
especially that they had the specific scene at the end where he made the team,
Yeah,
and then seeing kind of his little relationship with Brown Lee and stuff like that. That is pretty cool to see. I did think that he could play anyway. Like he looked like he has some. So
yeah,
once the patience that he had at the end
yeah.
to kind of let his blockers come in and clean everything up, and then the punter. I mean, I don't know what the fuck he was doing,
Oh,
but
that was
Man,
just-
he
it
just
was-
yeah, he was
Two
scared.
hand touch.
that was bad.
Yeah,
boy.
but man, what it ended, man. I was happy that football is back, man.
Yeah.
That's all you
Missed
can
it.
say about
We
that.
missed it for sure.
After a Monday night like that, that's all you can say to end the
Yeah.
first week. Happy to have football back, man.
For sure. All right. Let's switch gears and talk about college football. So we're heading into week 3, well, week 4 for a couple of teams. And Deion Sanders and the University of Colorado Buffaloes have been
That's
the
talk of
talk
town.
of college football, and deservedly so. I mean, he got them boys turned up. I know Chris, he used to coach at your alma mater, so I definitely want to hear your true thoughts on how you think Deion is doing now. He's in Colorado, but I'm telling you, like the scene out here. Look, everybody in this city, everybody in this state, like everywhere I go, people are locked in. People are excited about this shit. And now you got everybody coming to the games now because of Deion.
Yeah.
Which prime time, baby. Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, look. He turned our school up. I mean, him coming to Jackson. I mean, it changed the whole city. I mean, we had people always coming to our games, but I'm talking about every time. It's like even lower tier games that we play, stadiums packed out every single time, sold out every single time. I mean, that's just who he is. And then I mean, the players. It's just the fact that he can recruit these players. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that hard for him to do it. Like you hear, I mean, we all can relate to seeing and know, oh, Deion is the best cornerback ever.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to play for him. And it's just he makes it so easy for people to play for him. I mean, I'm not as big as shocked as just the aura he brings to Colorado. I mean, them winning games now. I mean, I didn't know how good they would have been this year in general. And you could attribute that to maybe TCU wasn't as good as most people might have thought they would have been. Maybe same thing for Nebraska. But as far as just him bringing the talent there and him like turning the city up,
Not surprised.
Not surprising at
He's
all.
always gonna bring the swagger with him.
Not surprising
Always.
at all.
But I mean, I don't want to give them I don't want to hype them too much, obviously, because TCU was a huge win coming off of a national championship appearance, but I'm really excited to look into next week when they play Oregon, and then the week after when they play USC. That's going to be two big games. I'm not saying that they gotta win, but at least seeing how they are against
how they stack up.
Yep. I was about to say, even if he lose those two games, if he can keep it, close, he did what he's supposed to do.
Something. And he's adding, as you kind of mentioned, like people know who Primetime is, but he's adding credibility every win that he gets. It's even more like, yeah, I want to play for this guy, because you seeing how he's acting, like you seeing how the players love him, you seeing how he's letting the players be themselves, as well as the X and O's and them developing and stuff like that. I mean, now they talking about Shador is going to be a top draft pick and stuff like that. So it's buzzing.
But I mean, he's already did it. Like you got, I read this over the weekend that Bryce Underwood, he's 5-star recruit quarterback. He's now added Colorado to his list of visits, along with Texas and Alabama. So it's like that's all you need. You don't have to win. You don't have to win it all this season, even though you did jump up to 22 real quick. And in the college football rankings,
you just look back to last year. The fact that he was able to get the number one prospect in the United States, the number one prospect to come to Jackson State University, that is huge. It didn't matter who else he got after that. The fact that he was able to do that shows you what he can do.
He's nasty. Travis is nasty, man. Playing both sides.
He's different.
Man, different.
That is a dog.
But that's a Travis versus Branch from USC is gonna be a nice matchup to watch.
Can't wait to see that USC game, boy.
Man, I can't wait.
I want to go to it, but them tickets are ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Is it in Colorado or is it in USC?
Yeah, it's here, bro. It's here. That's the crazy thing, bro. I want to go to it, so I might have to. I think I'm gonna go to that Oregon State game, but I want to go to USC.
I say, even if you don't go to the game, you just got to be in the atmosphere, bro.
Just go up there. Man, they got Boulder going crazy. These bars in Boulder, crazy.
Price about to go
up.
Yes,
as far as like price, as far as like other storylines in college football, nothing really surprising. We can talk about Alabama, Texas though.
Yeah, that's
a big win.
Like
big win. AD Mitchell, Xavier Worthy. Big win by Texas. Ewers made play at the play. Milroe, I don't want to hate on him too much, but the receivers, it's not the same Alabama receivers. This is not Jerry Jeudy. This is not Devontae Smith. So
dare I say Alabama looking a little more vulnerable each year. It just seeming like you just said, like we used to the big name receivers coming out of there, running backs. It just feel like the same playmakers. They're not going there anymore. They're spreading out. They're going all these different places now. It just seems like they're not overwhelmingly dominating.
For sure.
Nah.
Yeah, Milroe, he made a lot of mistakes that game, and I don't know how long of a leash you can have at this point, especially if you're trying to get to where you get to with Nick Saban. So I don't know, but Texas put it on them.
Man, start to finish. And they lined up and took it to them. I mean, ultimately in Tuscaloosa, it's a big win for the program, especially with them coming into the SEC in the next year. Big win for the program.
It was good to see. It was good to see it. It was just good to see it.
Yeah,
even like
especially after last year.
Yeah, even
they
like
wanted it.
People do not like Alabama.
Yeah.
So everybody was just straight up. People
want to see the downfall.
Everybody, the downfall is looking like it's here. We'll see. Let's talk about Caleb Williams for a little bit, because I mean he has all the arm talent. He has, but again, the competition, and I think you mentioned it as well previously. We got to see him against competition. Like he looking good against these. I don't want to say scrubs, but just people that he's clearly better than. It's just like how much stock can you take into that? He does have all the arm talent. He can make any throw you want him to make. But as far as the competition, it's hard to stack up.
But early, I mean, between him and Shador, those are the two Heisman front runners right now. I mean, he's been killing it. hasn't thrown a pick yet. Clearly, I mean, already being a Heisman, he's clearly headed to that number 1 overall pick. I'm really excited to see this year if they can get into the playoff. I really want to see him in the playoff. I want to see him play against Texas or play against Georgia or Alabama. Obviously, Colorado's coming up in a couple weeks, as we mentioned. So that's going to be a big test for both teams. I'm so excited to look to see it. I bet you it's going to be high scoring, similar to that TCU Colorado game. So, what about you? How you feel about Caleb Williams, Chris?
I mean, he's as advertised, I suppose. But again, we just gotta see him with, just once he gets real deep into conference play and playing, schools of their talent,
Caliber.
I guess you should say. I mean, that's how it is in college. The first 3 weeks, you're playing mostly out of conference games. You're not really playing too much competition. Certain teams anyway, like Georgia fans and all the teams they playing. I mean, we already know what's going to happen with those teams. But I'm interested to see, once you start playing more of just conference play, see how you do. But I mean, the talent's there. I mean, I think I'm assuming that he's going to be number 1 overall pick whenever he decides to leave, if he decides to leave this year.
And their defense has been good so far, so that's going to be interesting to see. First time Lincoln Riley's kind of had a good defense, so I mean, like I said, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see the Pac-12 has been really good this year. So, but switching gears from football to basketball, tough loss. Not even really about from Germany, but just disappointing in general. In terms of the team that went over there, there really didn't seem to be too much cohesion. It was kind of like the D team of the USA that we could have really sent over there, and just ultimately disappointing. They always kind of had slow starts, couldn't really always put it together, and then somebody, typically it was Ant, went for a big game, but Halliburton and Malik Bridges or Mikal Bridges, Jesus Christ. Mikal Bridges, he played well, obviously, but disappointing into the championship. Jaren Jackson, another disappointment, but I'm really excited, as we've seen with LeBron, similar to the Avengers. I'm excited for next year. I'm really excited to see who actually sticks it through.
So what do you think about this? I don't know if y'all seen what Rudy Gay said, that he feel like Team USA should really go back to how it used to do when they had tryouts, to go actually try out to be on the team instead of them just, choosing whoever they feel like choosing. Because I guess my question really is, like, are just our better players, are they just denying they don't want to do it? Like, what is the process of picking the players that they're picking? Like, why and it seems like it's always like that, for at least for a FIBA. It always seemed like that team in general always have the lower tier of the NBA players versus the Olympic game. It's like the Olympic, it feels like it's more bigger to us in general, and so we have our better players playing that. It just always seemed like maybe like our sophomore, like, you got an all-star game, how you got the sophomores playing or whatever. That's what it feels like, how we send out there that would it seem like we send out there every time, as far as FIBA go. And it just feels like, is there a reason for it? Is that just what we do?
I know I don't know. To answer your question, I have no idea how they go about choosing. I know they chose them. I know they chose a lot of this roster. Steve Kerr, the rest of the coaching staff. I mean, they had a good coaching staff. They had Steve Kerr as the head, and you have Spoelstra. Ty Lue was on there.
Probably should be Spoelstra as the head, or Ty Lue.
Yeah. Steve Kerr had no, like, it was.
The lineups is just disgusting.
The lineups were terrible. I mean, the roster. Okay, now I want to touch on this real quick too. First off, who invited Bobby Portis? Second off, Brandon Ingram is supposed to be like, he disappointed the hell out of me.
He should be the best player on that team.
He should be. It turned out to be Anthony Edwards. It turned out Anthony Edwards quit because Anthony Edwards had to go and grab that shit because Steve Kerr had him off the bench in the beginning in the pool play. You got Austin Reeves playing huge minutes. which Austin Reed is a hooper. Don't get me wrong. I know. But Team USA, he's your no. And Chris, he was getting put in that action. He's getting put in that action by Germany. He's getting put in that action by Canada.
Hey, come here. Get that screen.
Got dropped off by Schroeder. He got dropped off by SGA. SGA did him dirty in that third place game. I mean, they let Dylan Brooks drop 39 on them. Dylan Brooks dropped 30.
I mean, we gotta start acting like Dylan Brooks can't hoop now.
Bro, I'm not going for that shit, bro. You talking about Team USA? You talking about Anthony Edwards? Like, come on, man, come on. Who invited Bobby Portis? Who invited Cam Johnson?
But that's just my thing. It's just like we have so much,
talent.
Talent here, and it's like
in the league, you got.
If you wanted a young talent,
you want young talent, you got De'Aaron Fox, Devin Booker,
Trae
Young.
Garland, Mitchell, Mobley,
Jaylen Brown,
Garland, yes, like I would have loved to see Garland play for real. Like I don't know, it just feels like it's an afterthought as far as FIBA goes
on the squad, huh?
It just feel like FIBA is just like an afterthought to us in general, and it's just like, okay, we're just gonna throw who's ever available. Do you want to come play for us? Sure, let's go play.
They qualified for the Olympics, which that's the main goal, I guess. It's just they enter this tournament, they put whoever needs to be in there just to qualify, and then we'll go to the Olympics. That's what it seemed like. And I mean, them boys didn't care, especially that consolation game. Man, them boys didn't care about that shit.
Not at all.
But that's SGA did.
It's out there going through,
but
it's out there going through the motions, but. I mean, ultimately, that was it. Like I said, it was disappointing. But in terms of the team that you think they should take to the Olympics, who's on your guys' kind of wish list or list of players that should be going?
Okay, I can start. So we got LeBron, right?
Okay,
and we got a couple of names that leaked out as far as Steph Curry, KD. If we're going off that, and those are your three leaders.
Okay,
let's do it. Okay, so. Big man, I think you got it. And they said Joel can play now. He's a U.S. citizen. But you got AD, right? You got let me go through it. I think Evan Mobley will be good. We talked about it in our group chat for listeners. We talked about Zion Williamson. This
oh man,
like Olympics play is built for a player like Zion. He was dominating this shit, especially being on the same team with LeBron and Steph and them. Like, it would be crazy. But he's probably not going to play, so we'll move on from him. But I definitely think PG should go out there too. That's about 5. We got even if Devin Booker, maybe Bradley Beal, maybe.
I don't know about Bradley Beal.
No,
I don't know about Bradley Beal. No disrespect to Bradley Beal.
Okay. I get what you're saying. Let's take out Bradley.
Jimmy, Jaylen Brown, Donovan Mitchell before Bradley Beal.
Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I want to see De'Aaron Fox. Nobody can keep up with him. I don't think.
I'm really focused on the big Kawhi. Nah, Kawhi. Nah. I would like to see Kawhi do it. Hey, Kawhi go out there.
Like to see him
Kawhi will eat, but
Kawhi go out there and cook.
But ain't no way in hell he's doing this.
I would love to see Kawhi. I would love to see Kawhi be on Team USA. Honestly, Kawhi, LeBron, Steph, KD, PG. I mean, shit, James Harden. We just trying to write him off. Like James Harden, he go out there.
Kyrie,
Russ.
Nah. Hey, Russ go out there and hoop though, and he'll fall and he'll turn the ball over still, but you know how it is.
But no, I'm trying to think of
big man.
Your boy shot Julius Randle.
No, hell no. Mitchell Robinson, I'll take though, for real.
I mean, you need to play. I mean, shit. If you got AD,
but you got
Bam.
Yeah, Bam. Yeah, I forgot about Bam. My bad.
AD,
yeah.
Bam. If you got AD and Bam, shit, I'll take JaVale.
Nah.
I'm trying to think.
Nah, AD.
They need Bam. They need somebody bulky. Honestly, and that's where, because you got to think. Not only, there's nobody
nobody.
But I mean, you got to think.
Turner. He's kind of big.
If
tall.
Joel Embiid doesn't play for Team USA, you got to go against Giannis possibly, Jokic possibly. Now we're not talking enough about Wemby coming up possibly. So like there's a lot of big men that they're gonna start to have to go against. They got killed by the big men this time. I mean, Jaren Jackson. I mean, geez, what did he average? Like 2-3 rebounds,
2.9 rebounds.
That's not
a
gonna
game.
cut it.
2.9. They asked him about it. He's just like,
Jared
it's
Allen.
whatever. It's whatever.
I would say Jared Allen too, honestly.
I mean, if you're looking at a
What
role
about your
like
boy?
that, sure.
What about your boy, Ayton?
See, Ayton's supposed to be, in theory, Ayton will be perfect. He's but
Nah,
But
not to
no.
hate on Aiden, but I'm not seeing him doing that, honestly.
Nah, he not. Man, I'm not trying to see Ayton doing little push shots from 10, 15 feet. Nobody
Y'all
trying to
see
that
y'all boy Chris Paul talking about he wanna. Well, first of all, I think isn't Aiden on the Bahama team?
Oh, that's what I was trying to figure out. I didn't know what. I
Bahamian,
didn't
if
know.
I'm saying that right.
Yeah, something like that.
But Chris Paul said he want to play.
I seen that.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Yeah, you could be a coach, but like, nah, my
you don't
boy.
even be touching that court. You don't need to be touching. It's kind of crazy too how Steph
ahead.
ain't played.
Yeah, he's Bahamian.
Yeah, Ayton. Yeah, it's kind of Steph would go crazy, but
he would. And
like
Braun. Steph and Braun. That'd be so nasty.
I'm interested to see who actually.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, we got so many players. Like, I just feel like it shouldn't be no competition. I mean, yeah, they got good players, like you said. We like overseas, their big men are pretty much better than most of our big men, pretty much. So yeah, they're gonna dominate that area. But it's like we're overwhelmingly have way more top tier, top end talent than they do. But yet.
That's always kind of been the case, and then when we lose, it's like they lose to a team that has an NBA superstar, an NBA, not even an NBA superstar, an NBA star, an NBA player, and then like a squad around them.
Germany was just hitting shots.
Germany was hitting a lot of shots,
Tough shots.
Schroeder kept the pace up, in that game, and they got killed. So it was just bad, man. It was bad. It was bad. It was a lot of hunting going on out there. Jalen Brunson shouldn't have been on the team at all. That's one thing I meant to mention earlier. Jalen Brunson should not have been on this team. Tyrese Halliburton was okay. Trae Young should have been there though. If you want to talk about that, Trae Young should have been there. Jalen Brunson should have not. No. I ain't calling him trash, but he should not have been on this team. He should not have been starting. On top of that,
definitely. But ultimately, it was a disappointment. But I mean, like I said, we'll see as the year goes along. Hopefully, all the stars stay healthy throughout the season, so we can actually see, them play, and it's not an issue with injury and stuff like that. Crossing your fingers for AD and KD, really.
All of them, and Bron, because Bron got injured at the end of this season. If this was the Olympics this season, he probably wouldn't have played. But 2024 Olympics, it's in Paris, which is a nice place. You know what I mean? So that's another incentive as far as getting everybody to go. So we'll see.
It's just like
it's
even without
it's a lot of
we still have so much talent to put out.
Even without Paul
George. I still think that there needs to be like some solid vets,
for sure.
I'm like past Team USA vets, like Bron. I think no matter what, Bron needs to be around it, like on a team. I think KD,
I think KD for sure. I think KD for sure.
Steph, I would really love to see. I mean, it would be great to see Steph get a gold medal to add to his career and his resume. So, it's like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see. We've all said that Devin Booker. It'd be great to see him add a gold medal as well. So
do not put Draymond on that.
But he already got one.
Even though Draymond would probably be on the team. Who Book?
He was in the last Olympics.
Oh yeah, he was. Was he?
Because they had just lost the championship, so they
was Levine. Oh yeah,
it was Book, and then Middleton. They all came late.
Oh yeah, it was Middleton. I felt like Book ended up backing out.
He was coming off the bench.
Yeah, he
He
does
was
have
trying to,
one. You're right.
cause that was the other question. That particular Team USA they had, that was the first
They were
time they was like,
struggling with
they were
KD
struggling. They had KD was basically trying to take over,
and
and
Dame.
Dane was messing up.
Dane,
Dane
Dane
wasn't
was
doing good.
selling. I remember that. Yeah.
You're
And
right. You're
so it
right.
was like kind of, and sometimes Jason Tatum, and they were,
Who else was on
but
that? Oh,
Dane
Jason
was,
Tatum was on that.
Yeah.
he was the
Zach
second leading
LaVine,
scorer.
Drew Holiday was on that
Oh,
team.
Yeah,
Jeremy
that's
excuse me.
another
Grant.
person who came late.
He was their second leading scorer. Excuse
He
me.
was. He was.
Fuck outta here.
But nah, Drew came late. All of them, well, them three. It was just them three that came over late. Drew,
Middleton.
Book, and Middleton.
So JaVale was on
But
it.
I don't remember
Draymond.
who the big man on that team though.
Draymond, JaVale. Yeah, and Bam. Yeah, Draymond probably be on this team too coming up with Bron.
Of
You know
course
they ain't gonna
he
leave him
is.
out.
Nah, leave him out.
They ain't leaving him out. You know
Leave
that.
him out. No disrespect to Draymond, but like leave him out.
Man, he anchor, bro.
Shit.
All right, whatever. On that note, we can switch back to week 2.
Yeah.
Coming week. What's the biggest games that y'all are looking for?
Man, okay. So this is a like we talked about earlier. This is a big week too, right? We can kind of pull it up here. So look at the games we got here. Of course, we got Thursday night matchup, Philly and Minnesota. That's a big one. I think Green Bay and Atlanta personally is a big one. Let's see. Ooh, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Seattle, Detroit, KC, Jacksonville. Going down the list. Jets, Cowboys still.
That's a little interesting.
Miami, New England.
The primetime slate is going to be a little interesting because that Miami New England game could be really good. Honestly, it could be similar to the Eagles pass game from this past week. I'm really interested to see the chess match between Bill Belichick and Mike McDaniel. Sneaky good or sneaky important game is Buffalo versus the Raiders.
Very sneaky.
This was it's going to be a lot of talk about obviously Josh Allen and how he's playing. If there's another game and Josh Allen is just a little erratic or just doesn't look himself, I mean, there's a lot of more questions that's going to be talked about. Obviously there's going to be more of a focus on Stephon Diggs and what happened this past offseason. And then of course that the lady the reporter getting caught in the hot mic.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, man, that was crazy today, wasn't it? And then she put out a little statement talking about something. Yeah. It was a joke and that
I didn't mean it. Man, you mean it.
But I mean that he did say, I mean, that's deep saying like how he treat people. I mean, that's gonna be something to keep an eye on.
That's something to keep
just that relationship and how that story is brewing. But like you mentioned, Seattle, Detroit.
I think one of the big games I'm looking forward to, KC and Jacksonville.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. KC already, I mean, it's again week 1, but you're 0-1, and then you got Jacksonville, who is an upcoming team that actually played you pretty good in the playoffs last year. So it's gonna be interesting to see, especially if we still don't know if Travis playing or not.
Yeah. Okay, so out of those games, who are your winners as of today? We got the KC Jacksonville game, Baltimore Bengals. We got, I mean, since you want to speak on the Packers and the Falcons, we could talk about that as well as the Thursday night game and the Sunday night game. What are you guys thinking? Who you guys thinking to be the winners? We can start with the Thursday night game.
All right, let's do it. So
Thursday night, I got the Eagles, but I think it's gonna be a close game. I don't expect us to blow them out like we did last year. We are missing players, injuries, so I think it's gonna be a close game. Might be a shootout, actually.
I think I'm gonna go Eagles, but I would not be surprised if Minnesota pull this shit out. I'm gonna go Eagles though.
I'm gonna go Eagles as well. It's at home. If it was in Minnesota, I might feel differently, but they're not gonna have enough in the back end on defense for Minnesota. I think.
I mean, I don't believe in Minnesota defense. That's why, I also think it's gonna be a shootout because of our back end.
Yeah, exactly. Justin Jefferson could go crazy. Could go. Okay, so we all got Eagles there. Baltimore, Cincinnati. This will be interesting.
That's a good one. I'm looking for the Bengals to bounce back. I think the Bengals gonna win. I think we're gonna see what we usually see from Joe Burrow. I still think Baltimore trying to figure it out with the injuries to J.K. Dobbins. I think they still gonna try to figure things out a little bit. So they still might, I guess you could say, start off a little slow. But I think the Bengals gonna pull it out.
Okay, Shaw. You got the Ravens. Sorry, I can see it in your face.
He do.
I really want to pick the Ravens, but it's a home game for the Bengals. I'm going to go ahead and go ride with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I think, Jamar Chase has a big game. T. Higgins has a big game. I think we're going to see like a 31-28 kind of back and forth game with ultimately the Bengals probably pulling it out in the end. But I'm going to go with the Bengals at home.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go Bengals too. I think they need this win. You can't go. You can't go 0-2. Not and you especially can't lose to Baltimore. Not 0-2 in the division in your first 2 weeks.
With Baltimore being 2-0 and having that first game on, you can't lose that game.
You can't. You got to win this Bengals,
especially with it being a home game.
Yeah. Green Bay, Atlanta. I'm gonna go Atlanta. Y'all already know. I think it'll be a good game though. I do think it'll be a good game, but I think I'm gonna trick Jordan Love a little bit.
I think Jordan Love's coming to the A, and he gonna make another statement. I think the defense will give him some fits at first, but the Packers defense is really good. Like I said, they're really young. They're really good. They're flying around. My defensive player of the year, he gonna put them clamps on Drake London. Drake London might be a self check with a Ritter back there anyway. So I'm going with the Packers this week. How about you, Chris?
I think an underrated aspect is I'm not sure if Aaron Jones is going to play. He got hurt last game. He didn't come back. They didn't need him either. But if he doesn't play, I think that bodes well for the Falcons. I think they can. If he doesn't play, I think the Falcons pull it out.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So I'm a lone wolf in that one. All right, bet.
KC Jacksonville. Ooh.
I'm going with this is tough. I'm gonna go with Kansas City. I just don't see them going down 0-2 in the season. Jacksonville, I mean, I kind of said that from the jump. I don't think Jacksonville is that good. I think, I do think they've got some good players, but I do still think that Trevor Lawrence still has some things that he's got to put together. He made some really crazy throws last week, but I think ultimately Chris Jones is going to be a big get back, as well as hopefully Travis Kelce comes back and play. I do think the receivers are going to step up, and I think Kansas City will pull it out. What are y'all thinking?
I just can't see Kansas City going 0-2. I want to pick Jacksonville, but I
want to pick Jacksonville.
It just feels like, Patrick Mahomes is becoming in, he's in that category of like, you don't want to just bet against him because he does crazy stuff. He just do what he do. You can't knock him for that. So, but it's gonna be one hell of a game. Yeah. I would not be shocked if Jacksonville win, but I'm picking Kansas City.
For me, I'm picking Jacksonville at home. I think they pull it out. At home.
That'd be a big win.
I think they pull it out, man. Look, I don't believe in Kansas City defense on the back end. I get Chris Jones coming back. That's a good thing for him.
I don't believe in Kansas City defense either, but I really want to flip my pick. So I'm gonna stick with.
You can come back too.
We'll revisit it. All right.
I'm gonna stick with Kansas City.
Last couple. Miami, New England, Sunday night.
I'm taking Miami. Man, you know what? Christian Gonzalez actually played very, very well. I think he's gonna do really, really good. But
New England's at home.
But look. Until somebody can show me otherwise, they can stop Tyreek. I gotta go with Miami for right now. But hey, I will say if anybody can do it, Bill Belichick can put something together, but
and that's why I'm riding with the Pats.
I'm riding with the Pats too. I'm riding with New England.
I like what I saw from the Patriots offense last year. Last week. I do think I really would like to see them get Tyquan Thornton back eventually, and how that looks if he can take a step, or if they just go and get a receiver. I think they do need one guy that can really take the top off, or just a dominant number one if possible. But I really think the Pats pull this one out in a close game. I think Cass, how you have the game looking? I know that you picked the Pats, but how do you have the game looking?
I don't think it'll be. I don't. It won't be a blowout, but it won't be close. I think the Patriots will win by like 10 points, something around that. I see the final score being something around 31-21, something around that. Yeah, I really think. I think they pull it out, man. I'm very excited to see this game for sure. And I get it. After last week, it's tough to pick against Miami. It's tough to pick.
Very tough.
It's very. But New England at home, I think they're gonna cook something up for her. I think they're gonna scheme it.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
Okay.
And then you want to go. Okay, so Cleveland, Pittsburgh. This is a huge game. Pittsburgh's at home. You cannot drop two home. You cannot drop this game. You cannot drop this game. And on the flip side, if Cleveland wins this game, they go up 2-0 in division in the first 2 weeks and have a stranglehold on it, really.
Yep. And they will go up 2-0. I got the Browns.
You got
I think that Myles Garrett is about to make a statement on that he's going to be the defensive player of the year, possibly this year. You know, I do got Jair as my pick, but after what I saw with Myles Garrett, I mean, in that defensive line, he doesn't have. It's not Jadeveon Clowney over there anymore. No disrespect to Jadeveon Clowney, but you know, Zadarius Smith is a force coming off that edge as well. I think Deontay Johnson being gone, as well as Cam Hayward being gone, are two big losses for the Steelers. And that stat that I told y'all about earlier with the Matt Canada offense, I just don't see him having a good game against this Browns defense. So I'm rocking with the Browns. I think Deshaun Watson also has a big game.
Okay.
I'm taking the Browns too, but I think it's going to be Nick Chubb game without Karen Hayward in the middle, you know, holding that down. You know, you still got TJ Watt, but I just feel like this about to be one of them grinded out type of games. I think it's still they're motivated. They put up a bad week for week one. So they're motivated to come in and do something. So that's why I believe it's going to be a tough grinded out type of game. But I think they're going to lean on Nick Chubb, and I think they're going to get it. They'll go up 2-0.
For that reason,
division too, that's nasty.
For that reason, that's why I got Pittsburgh coming out on top. I think that shit, they're well coached, right? I love their coach. I don't think Mike Tomlin's gonna let them let that taste simmer in there. They're gonna show it. They're gonna show it during Cleveland. I think Pittsburgh defense steps up huge in this game. I think they might even score themselves this game. Something like that to kind of help that offense out. But yeah, I think they show up huge. I got Pittsburgh. I don't see them going down. I don't see them losing to Cleveland. I don't see them going out to start this season. And I got them in the playoffs, so they kind of need to win this game.
Yeah, I get that. It's an exciting slate week 2. I feel like we're gonna be saying that every week just because you know how these teams have been playing, how everybody looked during week 1, and then how we project teams to look. But I'm excited to see. We'll see what the Eagles do. Kind of start your weekend off, Chris. Anything else? Go ahead.
I also think this is one like how you just said. You know, we it seemed like we're saying, you know, it's good games every week, but I think this is one of the few times like it's starting to become where it's not overly. We got terrible team, just terrible. You got your same core 3 or 4. Like it's starting to become like, okay, no, these teams coming to play.
Yeah,
right. They're not just coming like. I mean, even though, Arizona is not good. They could have beat Washington, who some people believe, you know, Washington got a good defense. They got a quarterback that they're trying to believe in. You know, everybody seem to believe, you know, Arizona, you know, tanking it or whatever. They don't want. They ain't trying to win no way. They giving away players, but it's not like they always say. It's not easy to win in the league, and I just believe that now it's starting to feel like, you know, you don't have the same bad teams anymore. Them team that we always grew up. It's funny because just the other day I hear people who don't watch football. They lost to Detroit. And Detroit, they're
Detroit's
not
good
that
now.
Detroit
Yeah,
no more.
Detroit. Yeah,
Same old Lions.
yeah. Facts.
Hey.
I agree with that.
Chauncey said, "Put the ski mask on."
CJ.
Hey, he got a big game too. We ain't talking enough about it, but ultimately, like I said,
Seattle better
go
win
ahead.
that game. Seattle better win that game now.
They better.
Seattle
Wait,
better
well,
win.
so we before we sign off, who you got in that game?
I got the Lions. The Lions at home. I got the Lions.
I got the Lions too. I got if those two tackles don't play, Charles Cross and Lucas, I really think that the Seattle Seahawks will continue to struggle, which is saying something because I had them as my 1 seed. So
You're right.
That's a big loss, but I do think the Lions go ahead and pull it out.
Ooh, Chris.
Yeah, I got the Lions. I mean, they at home.
I think they still ride out that high.
They riding out just
Yeah.
so they just went on the road to Kansas City, won the game. They riding that. They going straight home.
Yeah,
I think
it's huge. It's huge.
Praying that they get my boy Gibbs some more touches.
We'll see.
They playing, but we're gonna see.
Yeah. Well, that's a wrap for episode 2 of the Speak Up Sports Podcast. So we're looking forward to a great week 2 in the NFL. We'll be back here next week to talk our shit about the week and see how it goes. We got some big games, so I'm excited to see it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all boys.